Hello, this is Liz Wendling, the host of the Everyone Sells Something Show, a show geared toward entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals who love what they do, but they don't always love the sales part of their business. But they're smart enough to know that at some point, no sales is always going to equal no business. And they want to confidently and consistently close more sales in a way that feels good and aligns with who they are. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Because the bottom line is this: your ability to communicate effectively will determine if people trust you, buy from you, follow you, listen to you, or completely dismiss you. Today's episode is on authenticity, that word that tends to get misused and misunderstood. Authenticity in sales and business is one of those words that has become cliched and overused. And it tends to, where I see it the most, get a little misused and misunderstood. And I'm going to give you some examples later to see if you're doing the same thing. You could be the most authentic CPA, dentist, attorney, architect, financial planner, web designer, coach, insurance agent, or consultant on the planet. But if you have weak sales skills, you fear sales, don't like sales, or lack the ability to build trust and communicate your value in a way that facilitates a confident buying decision for a potential client, no one gives a rip how authentic you are. Authenticity only gets you so far. Here's what I mean by that. You have to be able to plug your authentic self into strong and solid communication and sales skills. Think of it like plugging your vacuum cleaner into the wall. Your vacuum won't work unless it's plugged into a source, into an electrical source. You have to be able to plug your authentic self into your skills because they work together, not separately. You can't just say, I'm going to show up and be authentic and have crappy skills. They must work together. And one of the reasons I titled my sixth book was The Heart of Authentic Selling is because I really believe that it's what people crave now more than ever. There is a movement in business today for more transparency and authenticity and less hype and BS. So today I'm going to scratch the surface around where I witness authenticity being misunderstood and misused, and where professionals think that they're being authentic when they're really not, and how they're communicating and the energy that they're showing up with is actually making them look inauthentic and appear salesy, phony, and pushy. And here is what it is. Here's the crux of it all. People who are assuming they're being authentic, they're actually choosing to be nice. They think being nice is being authentic. So there's a difference between being nice versus being real. Being nice versus being real. And being nice can be taken a little too far when I have professionals say to me, I don't want to be one of those pushy, rude, obnoxious, annoying, aggressive, salesy, sleazy, or self-centered salespeople. And I say, good, no one wants that either. But here's what winds up happening is professionals try so hard not to be viewed in that negative light, and they want to be seen as likable. So what they do is they wind up turning the dial all the way down on who they really are. And they do it so much and turn it down so much that what happens is they show up as passive, wishy-washy, weak, accommodating, timid, and needy. And that doesn't work either, because that is not your authentic self. When you're turning the dial on down on who you really are, you can't be authentic. So you can claim that you're authentic all day long, but if you're not finding that center place, that center of where your power and authentic self lives, then you are being inauthentic. And I know this is where people can feel this in a sales conversation. And what happens is when you don't want to be too aggressive and too pushy, which no one wants, and you turn it down and you wind up being someone who is wishy-washy and weak, which no one wants, you're showing up as more of a pushover. You're being too nice. And nobody wants to do business with someone who's too nice, who's faking that nice. And we're going to get into how that really shows up and the energy that actually starts to create in your business. So many people believe of being nice is being mean. It's being a self-centered jerk. It's being rude. It's showing up aggressive. It's pushing people around and poking people in the chest and telling them how you feel. No, that is not it. The opposite of being nice is being real. It's being authentic. Wanting to appear nice and trying to be nice is actually making you look fake. So fake that people will say to you, I need to think about it. I don't have the money. Your prices are too high. Call me in a few weeks. They won't tell you the truth and say something is off in the conversation. They just look at you and lie to your face. Not all the time, but this may be what's happening. Being the nice person is driven by a need for approval. It's the I want to be liked gene. It winds up being ego driven, not heart driven. Being nice doesn't require you to step outside of your comfort zone with courage and strength and say what's on your mind and what's on your heart in your sales conversations. Being real and being authentic does that because it's more of a internally driven approach to human interaction in your sales conversations. It's more heartfelt, it's grounded, and this is what people feel. When you have the primary intent to be nice and to always be liked, it will always, always, always show up in your sales conversations and your sales situations. Being nice puts you in an inauthentic place of monitoring yourself, softening your message, making sure you choose the right words that don't offend anyone. And you tend to adjust what you say. Now, this may be happening consciously or unconsciously, but you're trying to fit in and mold into people's perceptions of you. And when you artificially create a perception of who you are, you wind up turning prospects off entirely. The desire to be nice, get this, the desire to be nice often hijacks a good heart-to-heart sales conversation. Nice shows up in your approach, in a way that you connect and interact with people. And it shows up in the language you choose and the language you use. And it can show up in the questions that you ask or don't ask. And it can show up how you talk about money and fees. It shows up in your follow-up. Nice shows up in the way that you handle a rejection, or when someone asks you for a discount, or here's a big one, how you ask or don't ask for the sale, and how you handle it when someone doesn't get back to you or blows you off. So when you're being nice in all those situations and not authentic with someone, it causes them to start to treat you differently. So here's why nice looks inauthentic to people. Here is why it actually shows up as inauthentic, and it drives people back. It forces them to take a step back, not lean into you. The people you're interacting with can actually sense that something is off. Something is not congruent. Something is out of alignment when they're speaking to you. They don't know what it is, but something is off. Think of it like watching a video that is not congruent with the audio. It's distracting. It causes people to feel uncomfortable. Potential clients and customers may feel like you're being nice because you have a hidden agenda. We've all had that happen to ourselves when we're in a sales situation and someone just feels like they're being overly nice just to get the sale. You show up as being nice only to close the business. Or maybe a potential client senses that there's a motive behind your niceness and they wind up being cautious around you. You're too nice, so they get a little nervous and they tend to shut down. Sometimes people can't quite explain what's troubling them in the interaction with you or what's rubbing them the wrong way when someone is being, quote unquote, too nice or trying too hard, but they are sensing that something is off. And when they sense that, the moment they sense that, it triggers a sense of distrust and a gut feeling that you're not being straight with them, that you're not being real. You're not being the real you. You are putting on an act. And no one wants to do business with someone who feels like someone is acting the part and the role only to get what they want. Now, hear this. I am not suggesting that you stop being a kind, open, genuine, helpful, and thoughtful human being. I'm suggesting that you pay attention to how you might be choosing to be nice to someone over being real, speaking from your heart, and pay attention to where it could be costing you lots of money, sales, and opportunities. So I'm going to share with you what it actually sounds like when you're being too nice. But before I do that, I want you to go to a place where you know in your heart that you have had a real strong, honest, and open human to human, heart to heart conversation with someone, where the conversation flowed, where you relinquished any kind of facade and it was effortless. And it happened that way because your walls were down and there was nothing in the way. You weren't trying to be someone else. You were just being you. You stepped out of that worry based niceness, that fear based niceness that tends to come up in sales conversations. And you boldly stepped into a conversation with your authentic self and authenticity. And when you do this, we've had it. Think about that time. When you do this, wasn't that conversation engaging? It was more interactive. It's good, it's rich, it's deep, it's appealing, it's fluid, and it's freaking fun when you get to that place because it is just two human beings exchanging information and the conversation is so open and real. So here is one, and this is one of many. I'm only going to scratch the surface of how nice versus real can show up in your sales communication and how it can negatively impact your sales and income. And they're what I call minimizers. And these are words and phrases that professionals use before the meat of the message, before the real intent of what they're about to say or write or text. And minimizers do just what they sound like. Minimizers lower your status. They actually sound like you're apologizing and being overly nice. They diminish your credibility, they dilute your strength, and they weaken your message. And they sound like this. Here's the scenario. You meet with a potential client and you're in a conversation with someone interested in doing business with you. And maybe you're at the proposal stage, or someone said that they need more information, but then they disappeared and were putting you off. Now it's your job to keep the conversation going. So take yourself to one of those places. Maybe you sent a proposal. Maybe you had a great conversation or a coffee meeting with someone and they said, this is good information. I need to take it back to my team. I need to go talk to someone else, whatever the situation is. But not everybody is going to buy on the spot every single time you talk to them. So go to that place where you know there's some more work to do after the initial sales conversation. And you say something like this. Your emails, texts, voicemails, or conversations sound just like this. Minimizers, remember, you're using minimizers. I know you get a lot of emails, so I'll be brief. I know you have a lot going on and I don't want to keep bothering you. I know you're busy and I don't want to keep wasting your time. I know your plate is full, so I'll get to the point. I know that you're swamped. I'll be quick. Quick question. Excuse my persistence. Sorry to trouble you again. I hate to keep bugging you, but I'm not sure if you got my last 17 messages. All the way to, I just wanted to touch base, follow up, reach out, check in. And this, I want you to stop this immediately. Any of them, anything that I just rattled off that sounds remotely close to what you're doing or identically close to what you're doing, I want you to stop. Stop apologizing. Stop apologizing because you're not doing anything wrong. You are picking up a conversation where it left off. So you don't have to say to someone, I know you're busy. Your time is valuable. You're conveying that yours isn't. Stop doing that immediately. Stop diminishing yourself. Stop giving away your power and confidence. Keep in mind that these nice phrases are for you, not the recipient. These phrases make you feel comfortable. They put you at ease. They make you feel good using them, but they don't add an ounce of value in your communication. They make you feel like you're being nice while being persistent, but they're only serving you, not the recipient. And I know that may be hard to hear. And I know you want to be a nice person, but this is, you can be nice in your actions and the way you communicate with people, but you must not throw out the minimizers that put you in a less than position. And many people say these phrases out of habit and niceness, but I call these phrase grenades. These phrase grenades take away all the power out of your message. And here's why. These words have a people pleasing energy attached to them, a nice energy attached to them, versus a confident and strong energy attached to them. And I was working with two different clients. I was working with an estate planning attorney and a financial planning company. And both of these people were struggling to get their potential clients to either schedule another meeting or get their documents ready, or struggling to keep things moving forward in a process that isn't typically a one phone call close. And both of them admitted that they were using nice language. And keep in mind, these weren't only women. One was a man and one was a woman, and they both talk like this. So this isn't just a female thing. This is a male thing as well. And they were both copping to and admitting that they said things like, I know that you said you would get the paperwork to me by next week, and I know how busy you are, and I know how hard it can be to gather up all the information. And I hate to keep bothering you. And I know documents take some time to get together. Let me know when you're going to get them to me. And that kind of energy doesn't compel someone to take action. That's not a way of communicating that drives action. What it does is it halts someone from taking action. You're not doing anything with your energy that moves someone into action. So they admitted they were using these nice but very wimpy sounding words that made them appear uncertain and a little wishy-washy and weak. That language caused people to actually resist their message and become less trusting, less engaged, less interested. And they back away and say what I said earlier. We're going to put this off for right now. I'm going to think it over. It's a little more than I wanted to spend. I don't have the money, maybe in a few months, versus stepping in out of the niceness and communicating with power words from start to finish, where you sound infinitely more commanding and confident with your words. And what I mean by that is, instead of saying, I'm so sorry to bother you, I know you're busy, you get to say, Mary, in our last conversation, you mentioned to me, or when we had our Zoom call last week, at the end of that, you said it would take you about 72 hours to get your information together. We're at that point right now. Here's what I think we should do next. Or how about we do this? You're trying to communicate in a way that moves people into action, that makes them say, oh, that's right, I promised that I would do that. Or yes, I spent an hour with an estate planning attorney. I know that I have to get this in gear. But if you're apologizing for helping them, they're going to back away. So you want to make sure that you're showing up in a completely different way. When you're being real, you show up that way. You show up as a different person. You draw people in. You communicate in a way that draws people into you and makes them take action. It's the place where your authenticity lives. It's that place where you know yourself and you trust yourself because you're being yourself. It's where deep and meaningful connections and business conversations happen because you're aligned with who you are and how you are showing up. When you're in a selling situation or you're interacting with others in a business setting, try this. Don't just be yourself, be your highest and best self. Bring the self who possesses superior sales and communication skills and someone who radiates authenticity. because remember, they work together. You can't be one of those people that just says, I'm just being me and have crappy sales skills. That doesn't work anymore. It is not 1995 anymore. Going from nice and restricted to bold and authentic can transform all aspects of your business. Breaking out of the niceness cage will not be done in one simple move or fixed overnight. It's impossible. Instead, finding your way out of niceness is more like, I used this analogy with a client last week. It's like maneuvering out of a straitjacket. You must wrestle a little bit and maybe try a couple of different moves and loosen some things up and let go of some of those long-standing ingrained beliefs that don't serve you anymore. And maybe you told yourself in the past that being nice is better than being truthful, that being nice is safer than being you. It's not. Your authentic self is what people are drawn to. Authenticity is a practice. And starting today, you can make a conscious choice in how you want to show up every day. You can choose to be fully aligned and congruent with your highest and best self. When you give yourself permission to be you, the 100% you, the real you, you will experience an increase in confidence, happiness, freedom, ease, flow, and of course, income. If you're into that stuff, but not everyone is. Some people would rather work really hard and not get anywhere. This is your ticket to a different business. So I want you to ask yourself this question. Where do you know that you're choosing to be liked rather than choosing to be authentic? Are you holding back instead of saying what needs to be said and saying it from your heart, not your head, saying it from your heart, not your ego, from your body, not your ego? Where are you choosing to be nice versus being real? Being authentic and real is required in business today. But like I keep saying, you also have to back that up with value, skills, and expertise. You have to be good at what you do, but authenticity only gets you so far. Your challenges take those layers off that hold you back and keep you from fully and freely expressing who you are. It means taking off your sales mask and setting your authentic self loose. There is an appeal to being real in business these days. Thank you for your time, and I will see you on the next show.